Welcome to Amiga Ireland. It's our December episode. I'm Irla.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Luke.
In this month's episode, a Christmas rendition of a Turrican 2 song.
Ami Blitz gets some love.
And how to write your own game with the help of Amiga game development tutorial.
Nice. We've got that and a whole lot more. But before we get stuck into the news, how's everybody?
As I think I say every month, I don't know where the month's gone. It just flies by, and I feel like I've had about 2 hours to myself over the whole month. I've got a lot of Dodgy Rocks done, which is the little game that I was porting for John Gervin. So that's almost there. I got my little high score table and everything working in that. So that's ready for making high scores with. What else? Yeah, a bit of trying to fix some problems with the checkmate case and making some tweaks for the second batch of things. And, that's basically been my little bit of time.
Okay, that's a lot for the last month.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Like I said, it feels like about 2 hours, and that's, but, oh well.
Well, I've been promoting the event a little more locally this time. Thanks to everybody for the help as well. Philip Berg, you were the first person to get in touch and to print out a poster and stick it up at work. That was really nice. Also, thanks to Graham Mack, Mark C and Colin C for spreading the news. And also thanks to the Utopia Spa in Athlone. They're actually they're a really nice massage kind of place next door to us. I know a lot of people who actually drive all the way to Athlone just to go for massages there because they're so good. They're actually going to promote us up there, so I totally spoil the atmosphere with the dirty Amiga poster. I was
going to say something like that. Yeah, it's not our usual. Our usual field. Yeah.
So for anyone who was asking about, is ranting from my wife or girlfriend or my other half can do when I'm up there, they can definitely go to Utopia. They do amazing massages and stuff. I've been there a few times myself, but my wife goes a lot, and I have a lot of extended family now that go there. So there you go. How are you, Luke?
Well, you've been leading like a pretty interesting life. Mine's pretty boring. Just, like my day job, ready packaging and packing and focusing on some new products as well. And there was one more thing. We had a Norwich Amiga group meeting, which was really, really good one. Last one this year we had a pretty good turnover, around 25, 26 people as far as I remember.
Cool.
So a lot of new faces and a lot of good talking. Also, they've started, a stream on Twitch. It was, I think it was a second one. We had some online streaming as well with our mobile phone. So slowly developing, growing, building user base in Norwich and around Norwich, generally in East Anglia. So pretty good, pretty all right.
Nice,
very good.
Just like Rob's doing in Scotland.
Yeah, I think we're not really touching those kind of numbers yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We've got our meeting coming up now this weekend, so that should be good.
So, pretty nice, pretty alright, I must say.
Well done, yeah, must check out the stream.
Cool.
Alright, let's move on to the news. Go ADF 2.0.2 has been released by Christoph Donat. The idea that the author had was to be able to show information about your ADF files as well before you write them, like the file system type and how much free space is on them and so on, which is kind of an interesting touch. It supports different formats like ADF, ADZ, DMZ, HFE. I should also mention that it's shareware and it's €7 to register.
This one is sort of like the super deluxe ADF handling program because it basically does everything. It really sort of gives you so much information and lets you manipulate them so much and mount them as virtual drives and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of it's a big deal if you're dealing with ADFs a lot. So it's well worth the few quid if you for supporting the author because it's getting fairly regular updates as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the interface is very nice and very clear.
Yeah, it's a lot of work gone into it. It's,
that's right, but it's very clear and pretty intuitive. So pretty nice one.
Now, Ami Blitz 3 is getting some updates at the moment. This came out of the blue because it's sort of stagnated. I think the last updates were in 2016. And And, sort of AmiBlitz was always, the aim was for higher end Amigas. And so it has these weird FPU requirements that have crept in both into the executables it creates and into the environment itself. Now, like on the Amiga, I think this is the nicest programming environment of all the IDEs that there are, but it's kind of hobbled by this FPU requirement if you want to make sort of simple stuff for low end Amigas. So this guy sort of like appeared out of nowhere, basically. He used to be working on the development early on AmiBlitz, when it just became AmiBlitz from Blitz Basic. And now he's, removing the FPU requirements, and he's rearranging a lot of the source code, improving the IDE a bit, rearranging some of the library stuff, which has always been a bit of a funny area of Blitz, and basically giving it a good lick of paint, and it's a fairly substantial update. So it was supposed to be out by now, but there are some slight issues with it, but there's an imminent release very soon. So that'll be version 3.7. So hopefully before Christmas. And that's great news for anyone who's programming in Blitz.
Right. Another thing is Amiga game development is a series of tutorials in assembler. A guy called Grammy Cowie, who's an author of Riggerport, is conducting a series of tutorials. These tutorials are mainly directed at beginners, actually. They help and guide you through OCS and AGA chipsets and how to write games using assembler. And there are already 5 episodes. So, have a look.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
AmiBerry 3 on the Pinebook is a full tutorial that's just been released by Epsilon on his blog, and this is really thorough. He unboxes the Pinebook. He's got photographs of the whole procedure where he kind of boots into the Linux that's on it first, and he tests the hardware, make sure everything is working before switching to AmiBerry. Then he puts AmiBerry on and he tries kind of different levels of demanding software, and he starts off with some OCS titles, first Workbench, and that worked well. Some OCS games worked well, demos. So then, at kind of there's a midpoint where he starts to notice issues. The hardware struggles more and more. It's really interesting because the Pinebook is so cheap. It's just under €200. So you can kind of have the Amiga laptop experience with it pretty easily. If you're thinking about the Pinebook, it's really worth looking at this, and you can decide kind of where your red lines are, and do you want to go with it or not. It was the demos where he noticed the most kind of strain. Maybe the audio or the visual wasn't quite right.
Yes, hitting the chipset hard.
Yeah, very nice, very interesting review there.
The Mediator PCI drivers have been updated. Now, I saw this a little while ago, and the change notes are for the previous version in the archive, so I don't know exactly what's changed, but basically by the file dates, it's the core library has been updated, and the vendors list, and just basically settings files. So I don't know exactly what's changed, but it's probably worth an update all the same if you have a Mediator. So the PCI library itself has been updated.
Commodore and Amiga Plus have just released another issue of their magazine, and it's a paper issue, and it's 14th edition. Inside we can find reviews of war games, interviews with Henrik Stengard and Martin Noriander. Also, another tutorial of Win UAE in practice, reviews of news items, and descriptions of hardware. Apart from that, with the magazine, there's a cover disc available. It's a disc for C64. So, you can get it, you can buy it. The link will be in the description notes. There are 2 versions. A version in Polish and the version in English language.
Nice touch, the disc.
Very nice.
The Bombjack Beer Edition creator has started an assembly programming series. Graham McGeezer Cowie is his name, and this tutorial series begins by configuring a tool chain which will allow you to quickly test your code changes, and you can work using modern tools like Notepad++, say, on Windows, and rapidly build it and run it on UAE. I had a quick look at the first episode, and I really want to follow along if I could ever get time. It'll probably be the new year, but it looks really good, really thorough. All your questions will be answered there. Takes you right from the start.
On another programming note, the MorphOS SDK has been updated. So this is version 3.14 of the SDK. So there's a minor update. There's a much bigger update a while ago, and this is just adds a few fixes and a few minor tweaks to the current SDK. So if you're coding on MorphOS, that's a nice little update for you.
Our last news item, EasyTag, has been updated for OS4 and now supports MP4 AAC Wave Pack and some other fixes that were included. So if you're on AA4, that's a nice one. Starting up the games section, Blastaway has been released for Amiga, and thanks to Seamus for the tip, and that's available on itch.io. I bought that for Amiga, only finding out afterwards it's for OS4, so in the future I will probably end up with an OS4 machine anyway, so I'll hold on to it to then, but it looks really good.
Another game, Black Dawn Rebirth, released, and this one's been a really good one, RPG game set in the future. Actually, it's a 7th edition. The game actually started in the 90s, early 90s. The graphics is nice, playability is really nice. You can buy it in two versions, the digital versions, which cost 13 Canadian dollars, or physical box art, manual instruction, discs, and it costs 60 Canadian dollars. The game itself is big. It takes 6 discs.
Whoa.
Oh, there's one more thing. You can also download a demo version to see if you like it. That's the thing. That's it.
Wow, geez, I have to try that one out.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks very good.
And I think requirements are not that high as well. I think it even runs on Amiga 500 with 1 megabyte of RAM.
Caveman for Commodore 64 has been released. This was a port of the 1980s Grandstand Tomy electronics tabletop game, written as an exercise in learning 6502 assembler. And it looks like a very simple, basic thing, but if you'd like to check out something new for your Commodore 64, there you go. Okay, so let's move on to discoveries. So it's been a quiet month, actually, in general. It's been quiet for news, for games, for discoveries. So all I've discovered this month is that well, Treasure Trap was made in Ireland, and that James in our group actually lived across the road from one of the developers. Treasure Trap is a game that I gave a one try to quickly and couldn't really get anywhere with it, and gave up on it and thought maybe it's just one of those games that wasn't very good. But I just looked it up again there after I saw James's post on Facebook, and it's rated 7.45 on Lemon Amiga, which is quite a high score. So yeah, I'm definitely going to give that game another try because it does look really nice.
Last month I was talking about setting up Amiga OS, the system mainly. I found a really nice tutorial on a website. The tutorial is very thorough, and it takes you through all the stages of installation, starting from a simple one, and it takes you step by step. You can add the patches as well on that side. It tells you how to apply them, how to use them. You can upgrade your icons, and you can go through Blitzkick as well. It shows you all the information and tutorials. If you use, for example, Blizzard cards, the link will be, of course, in the description notes. But if you like experimenting, and if you like thorough tutorials, why not have a look? It's really good one.
Now, I have a discovery here, which is just sort of literally just remembered that I found this out. I was a little while ago looking at, I had this crazy idea that I would do a little bit of programming on my old Atari 800. Now, clearly I don't have the time for it, so nothing ever happened. But when I was researching the different languages available, I found a version of BASIC that was a much improved version compared to the built-in BASIC, the standard BASIC that it comes with. And it turns out it was written by Thomas Richter, who is also an Amiga OS developer. Ah. So there you go. Before he was developing the the guts of the Amiga OS, and he still is. 3.1.4, he was one of the 3 main guys on that. So before he was doing that, he was he was developing core components and core languages for the Atari 8-bits.
Cool. Nice.
Right, let's move on to the events. The Nightmare Before Christmas is our end-of-year event at the Computer Museum in Galway, and it's on Friday the 13th of December. We're going to, of course, have the CD32 connected to the projector as always in the Commodore 64, but we're going to have the whole museum hooked up, all of the arcade cabinets, and basically anything there that can play a game will be up and running. So come along, and you can you're welcome to dress in the theme of either something Christmassy, something scary because it's a Nightmare Before Christmas, or something for computer games, or nothing, no theme at all if you're not into that.
It's a bit cold for that kind of stuff, though.
So that's Friday the 13th of December from 6 to 8 at the CCMI, the Computer Museum in Galway. Oh, and a call for anyone listening who's living anywhere in Ireland, Northern Ireland, to put up a poster for the event in January to let people know. If you get in touch, we can send you either something you can print, a PDF, or in some cases we're going to post a limited number. I've already sending quite a few out now to a few computer shops and stuff, but if you'd like to be involved in that and help promote the event, please get in touch. Right,
thanks to The Rage, they seem to be taking our poster, which is really good. Spreads the information about the Amiga Ireland event, so thank you very much guys for that.
Those guys are brilliant. I actually really like it. It's a retro game shop, but also they sell vinyl as well. It's The Rage is the retro art and gaming emporium, something along those lines. So so it's a small little shop in the middle of Dublin, and it's mostly console games, but occasionally they have C64s and STs. I've yet to see an Amiga crop up on their newsfeed, but it's probably some point will. But they've got a massive selection of console games and big vinyl selection as well. So, they're well worth popping in. They're in, they're near Stephen's Green, if you'll know the area, off Fade Street. So they're there just across the road from like the No Name Bar, as I used to call it, or the Snail Bar, whatever it's called. But it's a great little shop.
Cool, you seem to know Dublin pretty well by just the airport and the bus station.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Because I'm just usually when I come to Ireland, I just land in Dublin and then quickly go from the terminal, to the bus station, but with
straight down to Athlone.
Yeah, with a quick stop for a coffee and something to eat, and then straight to Athlone, and that's it.
Yeah, you see, in that area there are a few really good pubs, and so I spent a lot of time walking past that shop when it's closed.
I just have to intentionally fly one day to Dublin and just stop by for longer than 45 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a few of us at Amiga there. I know there's a few Amigans in Dublin as well.
Yeah.
George's probably listening now. He's
But perhaps we could just visit The Rage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well worth a look.
Yeah, brilliant. Worth checking.
Now, and so as we were saying earlier, we have beside us where we're going to have the show in January in Athlone, the Utopia Spa. And we give them another little shout out and say if you are thinking of bringing your other half along and they're not particularly interested in spending 8 hours in a hotel room with a load of Amiga enthusiasts, you can send them in next door to the spa, and that they'll have a great time as well.
Yeah, in case that edge case should ever occur.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Ask Amiga's up next.
There's a question came up on Retro Computing Stack Exchange, and basically there was the CD-TV CR, which is basically a cost-reduced CD-TV. Now this is one of these unicorn machines that only ever sort of made it to prototype stage. So there's probably a few handfuls of them in existence. They crop up for crazy money sometimes, but basically the CD-TV is an Amiga 500 in a nice little hi-fi stack case. But the CD-TV CR is an Amiga 600 in the same kind of case. So it's a CD Amiga 600, but it was never released, so very, very rare. But the specification for it has mention of a 65C02, which is basically a version of the old 6502 that powered pretty much the majority of the 8-bit machines, like the Commodore 64, the Atari 8-bits, the BBC Micro, the
BBC
NES.
Micro, yeah.
Yeah, everything used this chip. It was and it was originally a MOS chip, which, obviously, was a Commodore owned facility. And,
I think Apple II was based on 6502 as well.
It was, yeah. There a lot of them. So it's basically, the 8-bit computer revolution would not be what it was without the 6502. So this person's asking a question about, what's this in the specification for and stuff. But it's actually, believe it or not, you've got one in your Amiga. I absolutely guarantee it. Every Amiga has one in it, either on the motherboard or in the keyboard. So basically, what the story is that because Commodore had their chip fab, they made a lot of different custom chips for things, and the keyboard controller that they made has a 6502 core in it.
Oh man.
So every Commodore Amiga keyboard has this controller. Now on the Amiga 600 and 1200, it's on the motherboard, and it's a variation on a theme, but it still has the same core. So it's an actual little, basically it's like a little mini C64 inside your keyboard. And
I didn't know that.
And it has ROM, and it has RAM, and it has a few other little bits on it, all put into this one chip case. So you've got your 6502 core, you've got your ROM, you basically a little boot ROM for running the keyboard, and there you go. So pretty much every Amiga out there has that, either in the keyboard or on the motherboard.
That's another chip that we learned about in college that I wasn't too interested in because I didn't realise it was an Amiga. We did the Motorola 68000 as well,
Yeah. No, we did the 6809 for our 8-bit classes, which I liked, but that was used for sod all. Was it used for, there's one really unusual computer that it was used for. Was it not maybe the Dragon? No, not the Dragon. But there's
MSX? No, that was Z80, I think.
That was
MSX, but
there was one machine that used a 6809, and everything else basically used either the Z80 or 6502.
I know which one. It was Sinclair QL, Quantum Leap.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure about it. Because I've recently watched Microman.
Ah, yes, there you go.
So I think I'm pretty sure about this 68009. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's basically the forerunner to the 68000. So
that's right.
If you like the 8-bit version of it. And it wasn't nearly as prolific as the 6502 or Z80. But yeah, nice little chip. Must get one. for no reason.
Our top tweet was, funnily enough, was only tangentially related to Amiga. Star Trek The Next Generation had an Amiga Boing Ball rendered in one of their scenes. And it was from the episode where all of the children get kidnapped from the Enterprise and beamed or transported down to this planet where they couldn't have children because they didn't, actually I won't spoil the ending in case you look for it, but
I remember that episode. It was first season. Yeah.
Yes, it was. And they had the cigarette smoking man from, sorry, not him, but it was a guy from X-Files who was also in the X-Files later. Acted in that. So that was our top tweet of the month. And on Facebook, the top post, and these are just reported by Facebook, the top of the list this month is Stuart, who posted his Amiga 1200 playing TFX. And Stuart looks like he's got a very nice speaker setup actually with his A1200 there. And honourable mentions also to Tony, James, Seamus and Mark are also in joint second right behind Stuart there.
I remember getting that, and it needs hefty horsepower behind it, and it's a shame they really tried to shoehorn it onto the Amiga and onto the Amiga screen modes, and as a result, it doesn't actually benefit from a graphics card, which is a shame because it would run like grease lightning on a graphics card. But it's absolutely tied to the AGA chipset. So what they did was very impressive, and with a decent CPU, it really is an impressive bit of work. But missed opportunity, I think. for the 1% of people who had a graphics card.
Well, there's that too, yeah.
Yeah.
We've had some new members. Hello to
Andrew Sidal, Elias Souza,
Gerardo Fernandez Peites,
and Dirk Segers. Welcome to the group. We're nearly at 500 members now.
Ooh.
Cool, congratulations.
That's all from us. It's a short episode this week. There hasn't been much on, but to anyone who's booked, I want to let you know, first of all, thanks for booking in with for Amiga Ireland 2020. Really looking forward to seeing you. We've got one or two nice treats in the works as well that we're probably not going to mention until the day because I think they are nicer as a surprise. Yeah, so quite a few people have booked tickets already, which is really nice. We're going to release an update podcast, but we will, between now and then, maybe something on Christmas Eve, but we will definitely, one way or another, have our January episode, a podcast episode, before the event.
Until the next time, music was by Virtual Dimensions,
as well as Banjo Guy Ollie.
And the song of the month is The Great Bath, a Christmas edit from Turrican 2, originally by Chris Hulsbeck, obviously. This arrangement was by CZ Tunes, and that's a nice touch to get in the Christmas spirit. Have a nice holiday, everybody, or whatever it is you're doing over the next couple of weeks, and we'll be talking to you soon. Bye-bye.
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 So maybe just turn on the radio beside you or something while we go into
Play
the game.
some modules.
Yeah, play some modules.
Play some modules or SIDS.
Yeah.